Hello everybody, John Pate here again. I'm making another video because I have been getting a lot of negative attention on my social media about me running for sheriff. So I wanted to go over a few things based off the research I've done and that kind of stuff and bring y'all up to speed. First off, let me tell you who I actually am. I want everybody to be clear on this. I'm a constitutionalist first and foremost and a Second Amendment supporter to the death. Okay, I've been around guns since I was 6 years old. My dad was a competition pistol shooter. I've always been around guns. I believe it's every American's right to own firearms. It goes without saying. It should never be infringed. I'm an 8-year veteran of the Army National Guard. I never had to go to combat. I was blessed in that way that I didn't have to go, but I lost a lot of friends that went over there. I'm a small business owner. I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, I'm a Christian, and I'm a daddy of 3 kids. I've got an 11-year-old still at home that I'm raising to be a wonderful, awesome young lady. I am for the citizens of this county. I'm not trying to win this election simply because I want a title or I want to be the sheriff or I want to be important. I'm doing this for the citizens of Baxter County. I want equal justice for everybody, no matter who you are. I don't care how much money you got, if you're in that clique or whatever, everyone deserves equal justice under the law. What I'm not part of the good old boy system. Everyone that knows me or has ever worked with me will tell you, you get your job because you earn it. You earn your positions. You earn your respect when it comes to me. I don't believe that your sheriff should sit on his butt 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. I believe your sheriff should be working not only as an administrator, but as a supervisor overseeing everything and everybody. I'm also not in the clique with the powers that be, okay? We all know what I'm talking about. It's not a secret. We're talking about the same people that have been in power for all these years, the same people that run this county. I'm not one of them. I am one of you. I'm a father that is raising a family or raising kids in this area, and I'm tired of the same-o, same-o, same-o. It's time for a change. I keep saying it. It's time for a change that matters. Now, I wrote all this out because I had quite a bit to say, and I don't want to get off script and mess it up, so please bear with me. And yes, I have to have my reading glasses on. I put out in my other videos what my plans are, what I plan to change, how I intend to do it, and I wanted to bring up some points that I haven't yet covered, okay? These are questions that I'm getting, from people. So I wanted to bring these points up and put them out there to answer the questions that I keep getting, okay? I want a new program. If I'm elected sheriff, okay, I want a new program set up inside the Criminal Investigation Unit that combats pedophiles. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I want somebody finding these predators that stalk and entice our kids using chat rooms and social media, trying to meet them for sex, meet them, get them to do things, send new pictures. I want them prosecuted and thrown under the jail. Not only will this help eliminate these pedophiles and protect our kids, it can also cut way down on the sex trafficking. And anybody that says we don't have sex trafficking in this area is wrong. We have sex trafficking all over the United States. With all the illegals coming across the border, with everything we have going on in this country right now, sex trafficking is a very big thing. This is something we got to stay vigilant on. I also want an investigator to start investigating accusations of nursing home abuse and elder abuse. I get calls all the time of people that have had incidents or they have complaints about possible elder abuse or abuse to their loved ones that's in a skilled nursing facility or in a nursing home. Don't get me wrong. I know things happen. Patients roll out of bed. Look, I worked in the hospitals. I've worked on the ambulances. I've had people fall off a stretcher before. Okay? It happens. Accidents do happen. But we need somebody that can actually investigate these cases, because when I get a call, it breaks my heart that I can't help them, because the nursing homes can stand behind HIPAA and say, we don't have to give you any information and we're not going to help you. Therefore, the family basically is left to their own resources and attorneys to have to fight and try to get justice for their loved one who was attacked, injured, neglected, whatever. We need someone investigating this. I want to put somebody in that position. We got enough investigators at the county. We don't have that many complaints. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal, and we don't have to hire someone else to do the job. We just say, hey, you're now in charge of this. When we get a complaint of nursing home abuse, elderly abuse, wrongful death, whatever, you're going to go check it out and investigate it and see if it warrants actual criminal charges, if the sheriff's office needs to intervene, whatever the case might be. I've said it before, and I want to say it again. We need cameras in the cars and on the deputies. Now, I've said that once, twice, every time I've spoken, I've said that. But here's what I haven't told you. The current administration spent $125,000 out of their budget to buy telephones, not cell phones, landline phones, but these are special phones. These phones have little bitty cameras on them and monitor screens, so they can see who they're talking to when they're talking to them. Really? You need to talk to somebody that bad? Get up and walk to their office. The building is not that big, I assure you. One of the neat things they can do with this phone is, let's say you are brought in and questioned about something and you say, I want my lawyer. Okay, the lawyer shows up, and the lawyer's smart. They know that they can't tell if the camera and the audio has been turned off in the interview rooms. So they'll say, come on, you can use my office attorney. You and your client go in there and have a seat. And they go in and have a seat in your office. They close the door. You think that you're talking to your lawyer in confidence. Guess what? They can be in the office down the hall, hit the button, and hear everything that you're saying and record it and use it against you. Because Arkansas, as far as recording conversations, is a one-party state. As long as one person knows that that conversation is being recorded, it's perfectly legal. It can be used against you. That doesn't sound like equal or fair justice. That sounds like dirty, underhanded tricks. And that's the kind of crap I do not want in the sheriff's office. But we can spend $125,000 on telephones, but we can't get cameras in the car? As a private investigator, I use cameras all the time. Back when I worked under the former sheriff, myself and one other deputy had video cameras and body mics. He had a K-9. He was a drug officer. I worked dope all over this darn county. They put a camera in my car. Back then, it wasn't that expensive. I hit a button on my belt, my microphone come on, and my camera started recording. If we did it back then, why do we not have them now? I can buy cameras right now all day long for $100. You spend another $50, you got a body mic. So we don't have a ton of money to spend. Let's say we get the budget. We don't have a ton of money to spend on cameras and body mics and body cameras and stuff. That's really weird, because every other agency around here has them. Why don't we have them? Oh, I forgot. We needed $125,000 James Bond phones inside the sheriff's office building. Just saying. Now, Montgomery, that's currently the sheriff, Sheriff Montgomery, I don't want to disrespect him. He said multiple times that he's running on his record of what he has done and what he has accomplished. Well, let me see. Sheriff Montgomery boasted at the last few fire department meetings that I was in attendance of that As of January 2022, they finally have a full jail staff. Well, gee, John, that was at the end of February. Congratulations, you kept a full staff for almost a whole 2 months. Good job. I mean, really. So I guess that 60% turnover rate that you have at the sheriff's office for employees and jailers just magically disappeared. There's something wrong. There is mismanagement somewhere. And look, I get it. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. But a 60% turnover rate, anybody who's ever run a business will tell you that is an issue. That is a major problem. But let's move on. Sheriff Montgomery told everyone how he finally got the deputies a raise. That's commendable to a point. I'm very glad to see these men and women got raises. I'm very happy. What I'm not so happy about is how they went about it. Sheriff Montgomery told everybody, hey, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to put a 1 cent sales tax on everybody. He tells everyone 1 penny for 6 months. And then after that, it'd be 3/4 of a penny tax every, time you spend money. Well, okay, and he boasted about how much money he raised and how he give everybody raises the sheriff's office. And again, don't get me wrong, they deserve those raises. They really do. But what they didn't tell us is that that's 1 cent on every dollar you spend. So every time you go to the grocery store and you spend $100 on food, you're having to spend an extra $1 on tax just for the sheriff's office. A lot of folks don't know that, so I was just going to put that out there. Because me personally, I'm like you, I work for a living. I have to pay bills and gas and food and everything else. It's already taxed enough as it is. So why are you going to implement another tax on us? Did we vote on it? I vote in every election. I didn't see anything that I voted on that said tax increase. I hate tax increases. This county is broken, and it's going to go broke if we keep taxing people, because we can't afford to be taxed continuously. It's people aren't making the money that they used to make. Now, you can blame whoever you want. You can listen to the Democrats that tells you, oh, it's something that Trump created, or it's just the way it is. Or you can look at it from the Republican standpoint and say it's Biden's fault. Regardless, it's a problem that needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. As sheriff, I can't fix it. But I can promise you one thing, I'm not going to raise any more taxes. They already have a $5 million budget. Got to be somewhere we can move something around. Sheriff Montgomery has also got the sheriff's department and himself in a federal lawsuit. Now, this is a fact. If I had not brought this lawsuit to light, nobody would know anything about it. KTLO put it on the news yesterday that the sheriff's department went before federal court and denied all the accusations. Stated that they weren't guilty. Well, let me tell you something about that lawsuit. Because of that lawsuit, a young woman married with kids was sexually harassed and assaulted over the course of a long period of time, in which she reported. Other female matrons and a nurse has quit over the harassment and stuff that took place. And here's the thing. I know there's a lot of people that say, well, it's just another lawsuit. It's really not just another lawsuit, because here's what's going to happen. Her attorney's going to walk into court and he's going to make the argument in front of a jury. She's asking for a jury trial. He's going to go in there, or she's going to go in there and argue in front of a jury that a woman was sexually harassed, sexually assaulted. She reported it. It was witnessed by multiple other people. Here's the evidence. She wants to be paid however much money that the jury will give her. And every person on that jury has a mom, a daughter, a sister, or somebody. And we all know that that's not going to go over too well. And he's going to lose, most likely. I can't say I don't have a crystal ball. But if he loses that lawsuit, guess who gets to foot that bill? Taxpayers. You're footing that bill. How many more of these lawsuits y'all want? I'm just saying. That's out there. Secondly, if I hadn't have dug the dirt up, as they called it, if I hadn't have found the lawsuit and put it out there on the internet for everybody to see on social media, send it to KTLO, send it to Baxter Bulletin, send it to Harrison, all these news medias, I guarantee you there would not have been a single word written about it, about them even going to court and pleading not guilty to the charges. You wouldn't even have heard about it. Something else. I'm approached on a regular basis about cases being mishandled or not being completed or something to that extent. Now, before I get really, really into that, I want to say something. Not everybody's going to be happy with the results of their criminal case or their criminal allegations or whatever they have going on. You can't make everybody happy. It's not going to happen. Okay? But I can tell you, from personal experience on cases that I have been retained to work and have worked, that there's been several instances where the sheriff's department has screwed up. I won't call any names. I won't even say any departments. But I will say that I just recently worked one that the sheriff's department wrote off as one thing, a suicide. And it was brought to me. I looked it over, did some tests, did my thing, took it back to him, made the supervisor extremely mad, which he reopened the case and said they'll turn it over to the state police. It's the right thing to do. They made a mistake. Wasn't trying to point fingers, wasn't trying to make anybody mad. I was just trying to get justice for the people that hired me. Okay? Everybody deserves fair and equal treatment under the law. So I'm not making a whole lot of friends over at the sheriff's office. Baxter County needs 4x4 trucks. Okay? I've said this before. I'll say it again. We got to have them. Do they cost a little more? Yeah. But I've only called Dodge and I've only called Toyota. Now, the Dodge trucks are $4,000 more than the Charger. There's lease options. There's all kinds of different options. Plus, Chevy's got a new car out. Ford's got new vehicles out. We need four-wheel drive vehicles. I personally have heard on the radio, yes, I have a police radio, the digital radio that I can listen. I can't transmit, but I can hear. I've personally heard deputies say, hey, I can't get down this road. I'm going to have to come get the four-wheel drive. So he leaves the area, drives all the way back to the sheriff's office to get the four-wheel drive to go back out to the college just so he can get there. What if that was a life or death situation? We got to wait till, what? He goes and gets a truck? We got to fix this. This is broken and it's got to be fixed. I'm dead set on moving the dispatch center from the jail back across the street to the state-of-the-art 911 center. This is something that is costing the taxpayers money. We have to certify those people to run those computers. It's taking money out of the budget when we could put it right across the street and it would be a heck of a lot more effective. Just saying, that needs to be done. Something else was asked of me the other day, said, how do I feel about red flag gun laws? Where do I stand on gun confiscation? Let me tell you something. I hate the idea of red flag gun laws, and if they ever enact that in this state, it will never be enforced by me or anybody working under me, because there's no due process when somebody shows up at your door because your ex-wife, ex-girlfriend has gotten mad at you, makes a phone call and says they think you're a threat, so that the police show up and take your guns away from you, then you have to spend thousands of dollars on attorney fees and everything else to get your guns back when you haven't done anything wrong. This is a real simple thing. If somebody calls and says, hey, I think John Doe is suicidal and he's got a few guns in there, you send an officer out to talk to them. If they are okay, you leave them alone. If they're not, if they're a veteran in distress or they're somebody in a crisis, then you take the appropriate steps. That's why we have mental health workers at the hospital. You don't need police going and confiscating guns. And if they ever enact any laws that infringes on your Second Amendment rights, I can guarantee you not a deputy one from my agency will ever darken your doorway. That is a promise. Everybody knows how hard I am on drugs, okay? I'm going to move to the narcotics problem that we have in Baxter County. It is an epidemic. Everybody knows that. If we can combat the methamphetamine problem alone, we could reduce crime by 85 to 90%. Most of our crime today can be contributed to drug problems. It's that simple. And I think I'm the only one that's come up with a solution to it. And let me tell you something. Here's a fun fact. Did you know the city of Gassville made more felony drug arrests than the entire sheriff's department last year? Now, I don't have the facts on that, okay? Because I have sent off FOI requests to the prosecutor's office, to circuit court, to district court, to the attorney general's office, to the state police, and the FBI, and no one can give me those stats. The word that I got was it was 10 times more drug arrests in Gassville than the entire Baxter County Sheriff's Office. But again, because I can't prove it, I don't have the figures in front of me. Let's just say Gassville made more drug arrests in that little bitty town than the entire Sheriff's Office did. That's a fact. I've said this before, I'll say it again. We won't never, ever stop drugs, okay? And I'm not talking about marijuana, I mean drugs, methamphetamine, opiates, cocaine, the gauntlet. We're not ever going to stop it. But here's what we can do. We can get out here, and these deputies can work dope and get it off the street. Work it hard enough that it forces the dealers to leave this area. If the dealers leave, the users will leave with them. Now, I know people have told me, they have said, oh, well, you can't do that. Yes, you can, because I've done it. I worked for Gassville. The little city of Gassville hired me for 6 months, 2 days a week, to patrol and work dope. They had a dope problem. Within the first 2 months of being there, I had to use my cell phone to get on the air, to run a tag, make a traffic stop, or anything, because the drug dealers had scanners, and so did the drug users. They're already paranoid. If they heard me on the radio, they wouldn't move any drugs up and down the road. It would shut down. So I had to use my cell phone. I had put a lot of people in jail for drugs, transporting, possession with intent, having a meth lab, you name it. Been there, I've done that. I got a t-shirt. I can teach people how to do it. I've written a book for patrolmen. It's basically a step-by-step how-to manual for patrolmen to work dope. It can be done. Can we eliminate drugs? No, you're never going to eliminate drugs because there's too much money in it. But what we can do is we can run them off from this county. Make them go somewhere else. Make them become somebody else's problem. Send them back to Oklahoma, Texas, wherever it is they came from. But get them out of here. We got to have somebody working. And I've done it. I've got the records to prove it. I can do it again. And I want to do it again because I work too hard for my stuff. You work too hard for your stuff. And to have some meth head just come along and take it, well, what are we going to do with them? We going to put them in jail or put them on probation? Because right now the jail is full of felons for murder, aggravated assault, rape, robbery. You think they're going to put him in jail and hold him or her for stealing your power saw or your power drill? No. They're going to put them in there. They're going to bond out, go to court, say, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. They'll give them a diversion program, send them to the drug court or whatever they want to do with them. But ultimately, they pay a fine and get out of my courtroom. It doesn't stop the problem. It's a revolving door. That jail is a revolving door. You can get on the website and look and see it for yourself. If you think I'm making it up, just screenshot every week the different inmates on there and go back and look. They'll be back, I promise you. Same ones. Something else that's been bothering me is seeing these people standing on street corners begging for money. Hungry, hard times, homeless, this kind of stuff. Look, I feel sorry for these folks. You're talking to a man that spent almost 2 years in the Texas desert, spending his own money, using donations to go find our veterans that were homeless, living in culverts and on the street and sleeping in bus stations, and tried to get them help and get them into programs with the VA. Help them get their benefits because they didn't have a mailing address. They needed help. I worked very hard to help them folks, and it breaks my heart because the success rate was 1 in 15. And I don't think I could live on the streets and be sober. As a veteran begging, that your country turn their back on you, that's rough. So I have a really big heart for people that are going through hard times, because everybody's been through hard times at some point in their life. But here's my issue, is I have watched these people stand out there and beg for money, get money, and then go get in a car and drive off. A nicer car than what the people that gave them the money was driving. Okay? I have a problem with that. Every corner now, there's either a sign that says no loitering or no pandering, something like that. Or if there's not a sign there, there's somebody standing on the corner with a sign in front of Harps, in front of Walmart, pretty much everywhere you go now. We can do something about that. Let me tell you what we can do. We can pass a county ordinance that if you are going to be out in the public soliciting anything, be it food, money, shelter, whatever, you have to get a county permit, $10 a day. Otherwise, it's a $150 fine. Now, does that seem kind of extreme? Not really, because people do car washes all the time to raise money for the boosters and the schools. It's $10 a day. I mean, the money goes back into the revenue for the county, and it gives law enforcement permission to tell these people, you got to go. You got to get off this corner. If you come back, I'm going to lock you up. They'll go. They'll move on. And again, I feel bad for them. I do. But the fact that I can't walk into Harps or walk into Walmart and buy groceries for my family without somebody having their hand out is kind of like a slap in the face. I work for my money. So do you. And I know people get down on their luck and they have hard times. But it's the same people over and over and over. It ain't like somebody's passing through. They're living off the funds that the citizens of Baxter County are giving them. So that's one way to get rid of those people that are out there begging for money. Here's something I've said before, I'm going to say it again. I want to use the reserve deputies for extra deputies on the road. Make them work 24 hours a month. If they carry a badge that says Baxter County deputy on it and they are reserved, make them work 24 hours a month. Make them earn that right to be able to say that I am a Baxter County reserve deputy. That will solve the shortage of manpower on the streets. It just will. I believe I was told they had 97 reserve deputies. That's a lot of hours that could be spent on the street covering different areas. More patrolling. What's it going to cost us? It's going to cost us more gas, but we're going to have to pay for gas anyway. Now, one of the last things I want to address is my other opponent, Mr. Campfield. I'm not downing him by no means, but he was on the XL7 News Radio TV or whatever it was. For 30 minutes he spoke. They asked him questions, and I think there was like 9 different things that they spoke about. They asked him about himself first and foremost. He said he was a father and married, etc., etc., etc. He never once said he was a former U.S. Army soldier. Okay, I addressed this previously on Facebook about him claiming to have served in the United States Army, but he's never openly admitted to being in the United States Army. I'm proud of the service. I was just in the National Guard, and I'm proud of each and every man and woman that has ever put on a uniform, and I love the families that stood behind them and supported them, because there are so many of us have lost friends, families, family members and loved ones to, fighting overseas. And To say that you're in the military is something you should be proud of. Even if you had a bad experience, even if you didn't like it, you honor those vets by standing up and saying, yes, I did my duty. But I've yet to hear him say it, but yet he posted it on his on the internet when he was selling houses. I guess maybe to make more money. I don't know. But it's out there. I've got it screenshotted. I posted it, but I took it down because I had people telling me, oh yeah, he actually did serve. Either you did or you didn't. I've asked to see the DD-214. I hadn't seen it. He told me on the phone, I believe, he told me that he went, I believe, to Fort Jackson or something like that. I don't remember. I've slept since then. But now, I've been catching a lot of slack about that, but I wanted to bring that up, that he was on radio and was able to talk about himself, and he never once mentioned he served in the United States Army. He said he's, Deputy U.S. Marshal. He did 2 special different assignments over in Iraq where he taught police and stuff, and I know a lot of people that's done that. They're, law enforcement officers, nurses, doctors. They went over and taught the Iraqi people how to police, how to, be nurses, how to do first aid. A lot of people did. They worked for Blackwater, they worked for Halliburton, they worked for the State Department. A lot of people did that. But not once has he ever said anything about serving in the U.S. Army. And that kind of bothers me. So, yeah, I brought it back up. During this 30-minute interview, Mr. Canfield commends Sheriff Montgomery on the job he's done. Really? Really? He said he's done a good job. Really? Then why are you trying to take his job? If he's doing a good job, why do you want the job? That's right. He said because he wanted to end his law enforcement career as the sheriff of Baxter County. Folks, that to me isn't a good reason to be running for sheriff. You want to be the sheriff because you want to make a difference. I don't want a paycheck. I don't care about the badge. I got a gun. I carry a gun legally. It ain't about that. It's about making changes in this community, changes that matter for the people and for our kids and for our future. If we don't get a grip on it, what are we going to do? Where are we going to be in 10 years from now? Montgomery's been in office, 17 years? Yeah, he's done a lot of good for us. I mean, crime rate's up. The county's going to crap. Now, if you're not from here, you're from a big city, and you hear of a shooting, let's say you lived in Chicago and you come here, this is paradise. But for us that have lived here for 20, 30, 40 years, it's getting a little out of hand. We need to address the issue. Mr. Canfield said one thing that I agree with, and I was going to point this out, but since he already said it, I won't steal his thunder. We need computers in every patrol vehicle. Why? Number one, they'll pay for themselves in 2 to 3 weeks. What that does is it keeps the deputies from having to come back to the sheriff's office to do reports. Every other agency in this county has laptop computers in their vehicle with the internet. They're not that expensive. They're not that elaborate. They work. They keep the deputies on the road, saves on fuel costs, saves on a lot of things. You see Mountain Home PD sitting on the side of the road all the time. You think they're working radar or something. They're doing reports, okay? They're working, and they're staying on the road, and they're being out there, and people see them, and it slows traffic down. It deters crime. That's something that we need to do, is put the laptops in the computer. So, yes, I agree with him on that wholeheartedly. He said he wanted to use substations, like at the fire department stuff. I already said that. In my first public speech at the Beaufort Fire Department. So I guess it was a good idea because he said he wanted to do it. What it does is it allows deputies to park at the station, get out, walk around, use the bathroom, stretch their legs, that kind of stuff. It's kind of needed. But in order to do that, you got to work with the community. You got to work with the fire departments. You got to get behind them and let them know this is what we want to do. We want to work with you. It would help out a lot. In return, the fire department can send one of our investigators to the fire academy to be arson investigators. That's a win-win. I think every one of our CID investigators should be arson investigators. Takes the load off the fire department, helps out the sheriff's office, makes us more valuable to the community. Just saying, just putting that out there. Mr. Canfield says we need more deputies and proactive policing. Well, duh. His idea was to put, he was asked, what are you going to do if you've only got, the deputies you have now? You can't hire more deputies. He said, well, I'm going to put one deputy up north and one deputy down south, and I'll put a supervisor central in the area. Really? He said, we need more proactive policing and we need more officers on the street. Well, first off, you've got the access to more officers. They're called reserve deputies. Put them on the street. Oh, here's another idea. Proactive policing is what we do. Reactive policing is running around taking reports after a crime has occurred. I'm pretty sure that most everybody out here knows we need and have proactive policing. Every time you get pulled over by somebody, that's proactive policing. If somebody breaks in your house and steals your stuff and the police show up, that's reactive policing. There's the difference. He wants to make office deputies. Yeah, this is cute. So he wants to make the office deputies, the lieutenants and the sergeant stuff that work in the building during the daytime, wants them to get out for a couple hours a day, ride around. Now, you can watch the video. He says it, ride around and wave at people and be seen. Really? Okay. You do realize this ain't a parade, and we don't need people out burning gas up, waving to the citizens and being seen. We need police. We need deputies. And if they got time to come out of the office for a couple of hours, then they got time to go out and do some police work. Not ride around and wave at people. They can stand in the parking lot and wave at people. They don't have to go out burning gas up to do it. And secondly, what are you going to do during the evening hours when you don't have anybody in the office building? That kind of just doesn't count. Just asking. How about this for a better idea for you, for Baxter County Sheriff's Office? What if we get rid of the RODs? These are called retired on duty officers or deputies. This is the dead wood that's been hanging around for 20, 30 years that should have been retired. What about those folks? How about we say, look, you're not a part of the solution. You're part of the problem. It's time for you to go. You're just drawing a check. If I work for you and you're paying me and I'm not doing anything instead of sitting on my butt, you'd fire me. Well, why do we have them doing that at the sheriff's office? Just asking a simple question. If somebody can give me an honest answer, I'm all for it. When he was asked about, when Canfield was asked about his plan for the drug problem in Baxter County, he said he wanted to utilize the drug task force. Seriously? The drug task force is made up of just a handful of people for the 14th Judicial District. Each county is in a judicial district. Our judicial district, the 14th, is made up of Newton, Boone, Baxter, and Marion counties. There's just a handful of people to cover those counties. We already got them. Sheriff's office should already be working close with them. They're already overwhelmed, overworked, understaffed, underpaid, under everything. How are they really going to help the citizens of Baxter County? I'm just asking because that don't make any sense to me. We already got them. Should already be working close with them. I know they're out there, but do you really think a handful of people working 4 counties is going to make a bigger difference in the drug problem to combating drugs? I don't think so. That's not a good answer. When asked what he would do if there was a call in Big Flat, he said, usually Stone County responds to calls, major calls in Big Flat. Hey, here's a novel idea. How about you hire somebody and have them live down there? Or you make reserve deputies patrol down there? Or I don't know, maybe give a deputy the incentive to move down there. I'm pretty sure there's people down there that would love to have a full-time deputy living in Big Flat, Arkansas, that is also on call. You know, if there's always some way to fix that. Don't say Stone County responds to the calls, or it's going to take us an hour to an hour and a half to get down there. Quit making excuses. Fix the problems. I'm not a big person on excuses. I don't like excuses. If you make excuses to me, you're telling me you don't know. You don't have an answer. That's not acceptable. We got to fix this. We need changes and changes that matter. And I'm asking you, please get out and vote in the primaries. February 24th when they start. I got to win the primaries in order to get up on the ballot against Montgomery. Thank you for your time. And I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I got your vote. Thank you, and God bless.